build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Common sense priorities required now more than ever after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. He's not worth the cost, and he's not worth the crime. After 8 years, everything costs more, with the worst inflation in a generation, driving 2 million people to the food bank. After 8 years of Trudeau, work doesn't pay. You make it, he takes it. After 8 years of Trudeau, housing costs have doubled. Rent has doubled. Mortgage payments have doubled. Down payments have doubled. As his money printing has inflated real estate prices and his funding of local bureaucracies block home building, pricing a whole generation for the first time ever out of the chance of owning a home. And where there are homes, there is crime. Because after 8 years of Trudeau, crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder have followed his catch and release policies, his mismanagement of the federal RCMP, and his allowance for corruption at our ports. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, car thefts are up 300% in Toronto, 100% in Ottawa and Montreal. It wasn't like this before Justin Trudeau, as he admitted in a press release last week. Since his government was elected in 2015, there's been a 34% nationwide increase in car theft. In New Brunswick, car thefts have spiked 120%, while Ontario and Quebec have seen rises of 122 and 59% respectively. The explosion of car theft is making life even more unaffordable for Canadians as insurance companies drive up their premiums in order to compensate for the cost of replacing the stolen cars. Canadians are now paying an extra $1 billion in insurance premiums because of the problem of car theft that Trudeau created. In Ontario, car theft claims were up 329% in the first half of 2023, adding up to $700 million of additional losses, according to the Insurance Bureau, which estimates the cost to every driver of Justin Trudeau's car theft crisis is $130. $130 per Canadian motorist in higher insurance to pay for the Trudeau car theft crisis. This is happening because Justin Trudeau's dangerous catch and release policies have unleashed crime and chaos in our communities. Bill C-75 allows repeat offenders to be out on bail within hours of arrest. Then they promptly reoffend. Police are powerless to stop career car thieves, and even after those thieves are convicted, Trudeau's Bill C-5 allows them to serve their sentence in their living room, watching Netflix, until they open their front door and go out and steal yet another car. This means that Canadians are living in fear. His mismanagement has allowed organized crime to take over the operations and the running of our federal ports and use them to transport cars stolen in places like Brampton to the Middle East, to Africa, and to parts of Europe, where they are resold to organized crime and terrorist networks to profit evil all around the world. Federal ports, federal RCMP, federal criminal code, a federal prime minister who's not worth the crime. The common sense solution. Today I'm announcing that a Pierre Poilievre government will go after the real criminals by restoring jail, not bail, jail, not bail for repeat violent offenders and career car thieves. We will bring in mandatory jail time, and we will end house arrest for career car thieves. We will toughen sentences for gang-associated car thieves with the following plan. 1. We will increase prison time, mandatory prison time, for repeat car thieves from 6 months to 3 years. 2. We will remove eligibility for house arrest if convicted of a motor vehicle theft by way of indictment. 3. We will create a new specific aggravating factor where the offense of motor vehicle theft is committed on behalf of organized crime. And 4, we will repeal catch and release rules in Justin Trudeau's C-75 to ensure repeat offenders get jail and not bail. A Pierre Poilievre common sense government will hit the brakes on car theft, protect your property, and bring home safe streets. It's just common sense. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now have time for 5 questions from the floor.
Hello, Mr. Poilievre. I'm Noah Jarvis from True North. As you know, under the Harper government, they passed their own legislation to toughen up crime, to go tough on crime. However, that legislation has, in subsequent years, been challenged by the courts. They've been stricken down under Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and also Section 12. So what will your government do differently to ensure that your tough on crime legislation doesn't get struck down by the courts?
My legislation is charter-proof and constitutionally sound. It's not the courts that have turned loose criminals and allowed this crime wave. It's Justin Trudeau. It was not the courts that passed C-75, the catch and release bail system. It was Justin Trudeau. It was not the courts that brought in house arrest for repeat car thieves in C-5. It was Justin Trudeau. It was his legislation that caused the crime crisis. He needs to stop blaming the courts and start doing his job. It was not the courts that caused our national police force, which is responsible for fighting organized crime, to fail in its job. That was Justin Trudeau's mismanagement of the force. And it was not the courts that have allowed our ports to become parking lots for stolen cars. Those ports are not run by judges. They are run by the federal government. A common sense conservative government will fix the criminal code to put the criminals in jail. We will reform the RCMP to stop organized crime, and we will secure our ports to keep the illegal drugs and guns out and our cars in the country. It's common sense.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Graham Frisk from the Brampton Guardian. Mr. Poilievre, I wanted to ask you about a different issue that's happening in Brampton recently. Last week, it was revealed that 25 international students in one home. This has been a long-standing problem, so especially in Brampton. So, what would, if elected, your government do to help municipalities deal with this problem?
It's not a matter of helping. It's a matter of stopping the harm the federal government is doing. Justin Trudeau caused this chaos. He's the one that allowed total chaos and corruption in our student visa program. By his minister's own admission, the Trudeau government has granted hundreds of thousands of student visas for young people to go to fake colleges and universities that the Liberals now call puppy mills. Why is it that Trudeau allowed hundreds of thousands of kids to come here under the false pretense of studying at schools that really don't exist? Why is it that he allowed them to come here when they have no housing? Why is it that he allowed them to be ripped off by shady consultants? The answer is because Justin Trudeau is incompetent and he is not worth the cost or the chaos. A common sense conservative government will reverse Trudeau's student visa mess by requiring everyone who comes as a student have housing, that they have a certificate to study at a real educational institution. We will crack down on fake colleges and on crooked consultants, and we will restore what was a perfectly functioning and highly successful student program for people from all around the world. That's common sense. Now let's bring it home.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Brian Weatherhead from CTV News. I love your slogan, jail not bail, but then I assume you must want to abolish the presumption of innocence in Canada.
No, because the people for whom I'm going to apply jail and not bail are people who've been convicted sometimes on dozens of occasions prior to their most recent arrests. Let me give you proof. In Vancouver, they had to arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times in 1 year. That means in some cases, no, sorry, not in some cases, on average, an offender would have been arrested 150 times a year. Many of them would have had 100 arrests, and they're newly arrested for a serious violent offense and literally released within hours. The principle of bail is that if someone is arrested for the first or second time, or perhaps have never been convicted of anything, that the presumption of innocence allows them to be free till they await trial. That does not apply to someone who's already been convicted 60, 70, 80 times, and through their prior convictions have proven to be a danger to society. And that is why common sense conservatives will bring jail, not bail, to repeat violent offenders and career car thieves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Jerome from Omni News. An internal email obtained by the Globe and Mail shows your party has advised MPs not to comment publicly on Alberta's new transgender health and education policies. Why are you telling MPs not to comment on this? And can you please tell us your opinion on your party's position on increasing restrictions on transgender youth?
Sorry, what's that? What was the last part of your question?
Why are you telling MPs not to comment on this? And can you please tell us your opinion on your party's position on increasing restrictions on transgender youth?
Okay, well, your question contains falsehoods. You should tell me what restrictions you're referring to.
That's the question they gave me.
That's the question they gave you. Who gave you that question?
That's from my office, from my desk.
Which desk is that?
It's from Omni News.
Okay. This is the problem. Justin Trudeau and the media have been spreading disinformation to distract from his doubling of housing costs, his quadrupling of the carbon tax, the crime wave that he's unleashed across the country. And they're doing that by spreading disinformation on this and other issues. Justin Trudeau does not want to defend his appalling record of sending 2 million people to food banks. And so he's spreading disinformation on this subject with the help of the media who want to cover up for his failures. Our approach is to focus on our common sense plan, to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
Thank you. This will be the final question.
Sue from CBC. Just to follow up on the previous question and the video of Danielle Smith released. Where do you represent? Sorry, where do the Conservatives stand on these issues that she talked about in the video?
Oh, we stand for common sense, like on everything else. Our approach is to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. And we extend that same, we extend common sense to all issues. Now, Justin Trudeau wants to use this as a wedge issue. He's now trying to distract from doubling housing costs, quadrupling the carbon tax, unleashing crime and chaos in our communities, forcing 2 million people to the food bank. And so he is spreading disinformation on this subject. And it's time for Justin Trudeau to stop distracting and dividing Canadians. Let parents raise kids and provinces run schools and hospitals. That's my common sense approach, and it's time to bring it home. Thank you.